yourself a break. Here you'll find some love, music, laughter, and above all, she'll dare to tell the truth. And so come to Granny's place and give your spirit a big boost.
Welcome to Granny's Place, a haven for love, entertainment, and uncommon sense. I'm Sweet Baby James, and I'm here to introduce you to Granny Rocks and also to our theme, which is a continuation of the question and answer series that Granny began a few weeks ago. And the theme is, how can I help you? So, Granny, you have any words to share before we get into the questions?
Oh, well, hello. Welcome to Granny's Place. I hope you have a great, fulfilling, enlightening, confusing, insightful time here. And I hope you also consider joining us after the show, 15 minutes after the show, the live show, at Granny's Kitchen, where I lead a discussion about the topics that we talk about today. So I'm very happy to see you, and I'll tell you one of the reasons that I'm happy to see you is because I'm kind of like sad about things that are happening in my life that are inevitable. So why bother being sad if they're inevitable? Well, because it's human, because I need to grieve just like anybody else, you know what I mean? So anyway, you'll know all about it very shortly, actually, because the set is going to change. And I'm going to sneeze, too. So I'm getting over myself, but I'm happy that you're here with me so that I can share this time with you and that I won't be sitting there wallowing. I'm going to do something productive.
Yeah.
Take it away.
Thanks for being here for us, Granny.
Thank you. Thank you.
So, the first question is from Catalina, who says, my wife and I went shopping and I had to stay in the car because of fatigue while she went in and got groceries. This made me feel guilty, and we got into an argument. What can I do to not beat myself up about my feelings of guilt and worthlessness and not bring negativity into our relationship?
I would have been thrilled that my wife had gone into the store and I could have sat there in the car as long as it was air conditioned in the heat, So it's really interesting because I think the question is, why do you feel guilty instead of grateful? Because that is the other alternative, right?
Yeah.
Right? So I think what we're trying to do here is do a substitute of guilt for gratitude. So, of course, you could say that your guilt is blocking you from feeling grateful. And on the surface, that would make a lot of sense, right? Oh, I feel so guilty. How can I feel grateful? Because to be grateful is to admit that I'm happy. Happy, happy, happy. Happy, happy. Happy, happy. Oh, wonderful. So, I would say the real question is, why can't you admit you're happy when you are? Now, it is true that some of us suffer from like depression and
fatigue.
Well, of course, fatigue is very depressing. I suffer from fatigue a lot. But what I'm saying is, you may just be in a depressed place, and it doesn't matter what's going on. You're just depressed, right? And that's kind of something you need to look at is like, do you suffer from depression and so on? And then you can't take pleasure from anything. But if you're noticing that you are taking pleasure from certain things, but just not from things like that, then you are suffering from allergy to happiness syndrome.
Uh-oh. I think a lot of us have that one.
Allergy to happiness syndrome?
Oh, yeah.
Yes. So
we tend to want to grouse and complain, right?
We do.
Isn't that America's favorite pastime?
Well, so let's see. I want to get into this a little bit deeper. So let's see, why would you want to hide that you're happy, 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 lucky, 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 having a great time, having a wonderful life? Yes. So I would like to suggest that you start with a question for yourself, because you're not here for me to ask you. And the question would be, who is it that you're hiding from which to whither? From whom you are hiding
Yes.
the fact that you are happy.
Oh.
Happy. Because if you could admit that life is pretty darn good for you, which it sounds like it is,
Yeah.
then you would automatically be more into the gratitude column. So that would be the first place that I would delve, is like, are you scared to admit you're happy, and in front of whom? So give
And that
that
could be
a
somebody
try.
in the past or the present. Is that
Oh,
right?
absolutely. Oh, yeah. I mean, it could be something from childhood, like, oh, I had to hide from my mother that I was happy because she felt so bad, and that would have been horrible because she would have resented it if I were happy. Now, some parents want us to be happy because that makes them feel good about themselves. Or maybe I don't want to show that I'm happy because I really resent my mother, and I don't want her to know that I'm happy because then she won't feel guilty anymore. So I mean, it could be that, or it could be that we're hiding from somebody mean that we're happy because they don't like it when we're happy. So you see, there's many options there. Take a look. Good luck with that. Let me know how it goes.
Very good. Next question. Lulu here. How can I stop expecting others to react negatively when I let them know how I'm feeling about something? For example, I tell them that I'm not able to help them.
How can you stop expecting people to react negatively when you tell them something that you think they don't want to hear?
Yeah.
Is that the idea?
That's the idea.
That's a good question. So obviously that is a reaction. Okay, that book over there, Living with Reality, free download on the innerrevolution.org website. There is a chapter called Becoming Self-Aware, which is platform 5, right? And in that I talk about stimulus, reaction, and response, which is all about self-awareness. So now if you look at that, you start thinking about it. It's like, where did you get the idea that saying something that's true is going to create a negative reaction, right? So it might be helpful to start with the origin, right?
Yeah.
It's like, who was unhappy and angry when you told them no? Who was unhappy and angry when you told them something they didn't want to hear? Who wasn't unhappy when you told them something they didn't want to hear? So it could be something as simple as you've been conditioned, like, Pavlov's dog, right? Okay, I'm going to say something someone doesn't like, and they're going to get mad, and maybe they're going to yell at me, or punish me, or hit me, or give me the look. I couldn't even do the look if I wanted. It's so disapproving. And martyr, too. That's the look that I got. So anyway, I had that experience. So once you know where the origin of the species of craziness comes from, then you can start using your consciousness to say, okay, this is my conditioning, but I'm not a dog. Right, Pavlov's dog that salivated, I don't know what the ring
when
of
the
the
bell
bell.
rang.
Okay, I am not a dog. I am able to think. So I could take a breath and say, my initial feeling, fear, is they're going to disapprove of me. Oh no, they are going to disapprove of me. And then you could say, so what if they do? That's one possibility. You could say, so what if they do? Or even better yet, you could say, give yourself a breath and say, I have no idea what they're actually going to say. So now, let's say you're still feeling the fear in your heart, like, I can't say this because I'm afraid of what they're going to say, even though I have no idea what they're going to actually say, or even though I've already talked to this person 100 times and they don't react that way. It's like, but that visceral fear, right? That Pavlov's dog. So say, I will not be a conditioned dog. I will not be a conditioned dog. So I'm going to say it anyway. So you give yourself the time to think it through, like take your pause, think. I have no idea.
These pause?
These, I have no idea what they're actually going to say. I am conditioned to be fearful, and I'm going to say it anyway. So you do that a couple of thousand times, and then guess what? You've created a new conditioning, and you have intervened between the reaction and the response, because you have a stimulus. In this case, you have a reaction of fear, but you don't act on that fear. You say, I'm going to change my response, even if I feel the fear, even if I feel the fear. So then you start reprogramming yourself. You're reprogramming. Now, all of a sudden, you say something to somebody they don't like, and they do disapprove, and they're all over you. So the old stimulus, the old reaction. So now, oh no, it's true. If I open my mouth, someone's going to hit me. Oh no. So you have to be prepared for the possibility that is going to be restimulated, because you really can't control. But do you want to be a slave of your fear of people's reaction all your life? I doubt it, because if you did, you wouldn't have written to me. So take your hand, if you're alone and you don't have anybody else, or imagine somebody who loves you with you, or think of Granny, and what would Granny Rock say? And don't feel so darned alone, and let yourself have the reaction, but you don't have to have that response no matter what.
Yeah. You tell them, Granny.
Yeah.
This next one is from Anonymous. Hi, Granny. How can I stop separating from people and turning on myself when I feel I am not with the cool kids, the popular people? I know it's my ego. It feels very painful to separate and turn on myself. Thank you.
Okay, so I want to distinguish between turning on myself and turning on myself. So when you read it at first, Sweet Baby Jim, it sort of sounded like she's turning on herself. And that is the opposite of what she's doing. She's turning on herself, meaning she's turning against herself, right?
Right.
So what is the question is, how can you stop yourself from freaking out when you're not part of the popular group? Or how do you stop yourself from turning on yourself? Can you read that to me again?
Yeah, how can I stop separating from people and turning on myself?
Okay.
When I feel like I'm not with the popular people.
Okay. So we're talking about in the moment, you're not with the popular people. Well, the first thing, of course, is very obvious. I'm sure you already figured this out. And so when everyone else has too, it's like, why is it important to be with the popular people? I mean, like, what are you getting from that? And popular with whom? I mean, nobody's popular with everybody. Let's say you take the cheerleader, the captain of the football team, the homecoming queen, whoever the popular person is. So there's always someone who's sitting there in the background thinking, oh, she's such a bimbo. Oh, he's such a jock, you know. There's always somebody. So, you know, you have to decide, first of all, why you're listening to the people who think that those people are popular instead of listening to the people who don't think they're popular. Not that I think you should be judging them, but I'm just saying you're making a choice. Not only are you choosing who to befriend because of their popularity, but you're actually choosing whose opinion you're going to listen to about whether or not those people are valuable, right? So maybe the beauty queen was not the most popular person in my house. In my house, the most popular person was the smartest person. Not that that's any better, right?
Right.
But so like, I only want to be with the people who are smart, right? Because those were the people who were popular in my house, or that they were valued. That was the value in my house. So that's no better, is it?
No.
So it's not. So in that case, it's not even popular. It's about being smart. Or some other house, it may be the person who's the most athletic, or the most outgoing, or the most generous, or the most whatever it is. And then you're saying, well, where did I get that value? From whom, right? Because the truth is, you've got an illusion going on there. There is nobody who's popular with everybody. Even Granny Rocks, I have to admit that there are some people who do not think I'm fantastic, right? Are you going to believe them, or are you going to believe you, for instance? Hopefully you do think I'm fantastic, or something, or you wouldn't have written to me. So like, whose judgment are you listening to? So realize, girl, that you, girl or guy, I don't know, Anonymous, right? So realize, guy, girl, or anywhere in between, that you aren't really judging the people that you are separating from. You are judging the people you think highly of them. And ask yourself, why am I listening to them? Why are their voices the ones that I'm listening to? And why am I not listening to anyone else's, including my own? So that would be a good start on thinking about this differently. And then let's see where it goes from there.
Okay.
Sometimes we have to have more than one, conversation about things, because you have to start the process.
Yeah. Well, okay. Thank you, Granny.
By the way, it seems like, according to the count, we have way too many questions for me to answer all tonight. So we have plenty. Well, please keep sending in your questions, because I'm just saying we're going to have another show next week. I have a couple of questions that'll probably spill over, and you just keep those questions coming. Oh, look at the post. There's a link right in the beginning. Boop. Did you notice that we have a new image for our Granny's Place now? Beautiful job done by Julia Ensign. I'm not even sure how to pronounce her name.
That's
Did
correct.
a wonderful job. And there's a link right there at the top of the post where you can go on and put in your own question.
Yeah.
Stump Granny Week.
There you go.
Yeah.
This next question is from Rose. Sometimes people say they want to be involved in something, but then don't take action. Any help on what I should focus on, the action or the talk? And how do I support awareness?
I'm not sure I understand that question. I mean, what should you focus on, the action? If the talk is only talk and the action is non-existent, you don't focus on either the action or the talk. You focus on whether you want to put any more energy into that person. So I'm not really sure exactly, because you can't focus on the talk. It's just talk, right? Talk is chip, 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 cheap. Cheap, chip.
That's right.
So there's nothing to. So I'm not sure that I understand exactly, but I would say that you need to, first of all, look at how you're reacting to the person not delivering. Am I understanding? The person is not delivering on promises. And then, is this person someone that you want to spend more time working with to see what is it that they're, capable of, or why are they not doing it, or are they just trying to please you by saying yes and it's really a no and all of that? So you can put some more time into exploring all of that. Or you could just say, forget about it. This person is not going to do this, and I'm just spinning my wheels. And maybe they're trying to please me, or maybe they're trying to look good to themselves, but this is not doing me any good. And then you ask yourself, well, what is it that I want to accomplish with this person? if they're friends and I just love them and I have a wonderful time with them and they're great in every other way, then you just have to talk about that and say, this is painful to me, or I'm getting over my pain about the fact that you're not delivering, but I still want your friendship. Or you take a look on whether you're hanging on to the friendship with them in the hopes that finally they're going to get off their you-know-whats and do something, and you really don't want to do that. You can't force anything. Or it may be just worth one more conversation and say, I noticed that you promised to do this. You said you were going to put this in my Christmas stocking, but there's nothing in there. I wonder why. So you could talk, you know what I mean? So you could talk to them about that. But really the question is, how do you feel about that person? How do you want to proceed with the relationship that you have with them? And if you really don't have a burning desire or a need to relate to them because there's nothing, you're not in synergy with each other, and then why are you continuing to struggle with that? You just bless them and send them on their way. I have no idea if I answered your question because I'm not sure that I know what your question was, and I don't mean to put you down in any way.
No, it sounds to me like you did.
I hope so. I answered somebody's question, and I hope that it was yours. So don't spin your wheels trying to get the ice cream out of the empty refrigerator. Mm-hmm. But do invest in the relationship if it feels worthwhile to you. Mm-hmm. And I hope I helped you.
And you will buy what?
I hope I helped you.
Oh, very good.
Yes.
Next question. This is from Richard. I know that there are many paths to transformation. How do I know if I'm following the path for me?
Actually, that's pretty easy. Look at every path that you see and ask yourself, I know that there are many paths of transformation. Well, I don't know. For instance, plastic surgery is a path to transforming the way I look. Physical therapy is a path to transforming, hopefully my range of motion or something like that. Counseling may be a path for transforming my reactivity. Living with reality may be a path for transforming my consciousness. So the first thing you want to look at is, what do I intend to be transforming? And which path is actually focused on that? Now, when I say that's easy, what I mean is there's another aspect of this, which is, do I want to transform my relationship with my ego? Which is the part of me that keeps me in the self-centered. It's all about me, which I think is the source of all the problems on the planet, is that we're all separated, yes, into distinct egos, and that's the way we know how to live. So then, if you want to transform your relationship with your ego, you can't get rid of it, but you can transform your relationship as not dominating you, then you look at all these paths and you say, which one is challenging me the most in terms of my ego? And which one is puffing me up? I remember very, very clearly when I had a thriving practice in Los Angeles of intuitive counseling, which is what I do for a living. I don't just answer questions like this. I actually talk to you. You talk to me, and we actually do a lot of transformation, right? But at that time, there was another path that opened up of people who were more into manifesting, manifestation consciousness, and all of a sudden, my clients started to disappear. And they were all running to this other place, which had value to it, but was much nicer to the ego than me, because there was a lot of puffing up going on there that I didn't do, or pretending, or, it did not challenge the ego in the same way. So at that point, people had to make a decision. What are they trying to transform? If they were trying to transform their mood, for example, I think that other place probably was great. They went in there, sang, and they felt like they were God, and they were very uplifted, and it was very popular, and all their friends were going, and, yes, wonderful, woo, woo, ha, ha. And so it transformed their mood, at least for the moment, right? But if you want to transform your ego, then you look for the thing that is most transformative to your ego. So exactly, as I said in the beginning, you have to really decide what it is that you are really trying to transform. And then from there, I think it should become pretty obvious. So I hope that was helpful. Oh my goodness, we have 3 minutes. Do I have time for this question, or do we have to? What is the question? Let me see if I
Yes,
have
I'll share with you the
Okay.
question. This is from Elizabeth. Recently, I attended a meeting of people who gather to come up with ideas to change things for the better, a political group. Any advice for those who want to create positive changes to be as effective as possible? Thanks.
Well, one very important thing about being effective is you have to be calm and neutral. And so a lot of our political groups don't stay calm or neutral. Now, I should really take a look on a deeper level at this, because what is effective? What does it mean to be effective? You can go out there, you can go to a rally where someone is like bashing homosexuals or bashing Muslims or bashing anybody, and it's very effective to bash on with a group. Bash on Winsaki, right? And so you can say, well, that's very effective. That's not being neutral. That's being vicious, angry, and that is being effective. So that actually brings me to the real answer to the question is, what is it that you want to affect? Right? It's kind of like Richard's question, right? What do you want to change? Well, what do you want to affect? If you just want to get people out there, maybe screaming and finding out what people want to scream about is a great way of affecting more people in the street. Oh my God, if I check it out, I discovered that there's 5 million people who are angry about the Supreme Court nominee, and I'm going to go out there and I'm going to try to rally people to vote against it, whatever it is. Well, let's say that is the thing, and you say that is what I want to affect, so I want to do that. I think that's really effective in terms of getting people in the street. But if you want to affect consciousness, right, then you can't do that, because you have to, the punishment has to fit the crime, the cure has to fit what you're trying to achieve, right? So if you want people to be more conscious, then you have to think of ways that you can help people to think. Not that you want people necessarily to agree with your opinion. So I've run out of time, and I've done the best with those questions. I know we have some more, but I can't finish today. We have lots of space for questions for next week, though, so please follow the link. And if you would like to follow up on any of these things that I've said, either put another question in for next week or join us in Granny's Kitchen,
Yes.
where you can say, what do you mean? Blah, 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 blah. Or how dare you say that to me?
Or what that made me think was.
Or I love you, Granny. It could happen.
And so that's 15 minutes after this show.
15 minutes after this show.
7:15
after
Pacific
the live
time.
show.
After the live
7:15
show.
Pacific time. Look on the instructions in the post about how to get onto Granny's Kitchen. Let's have a conversation. Let's talk. It's very effective. And then send in your questions. Spread the news about the show if you think that it's effective. Because, what effect am I trying to create here? Is to help people to become more conscious.
Yep.
So, have I gotten millions in the street? Have people been sending me their pennies? No. But I hope that the effect that I am having is to make people think more and more and more clearly about themselves and their world. So, join us again at Granny's Place.
Very good.
Thank you.
Bye-bye for now.
Bye-bye.